Hey, welcome back to Doodling with Purpose, your week-by-week guide to learning ancient Egyptian, here on Spectra Creative. Without any further introduction needed, let's jump into last week's homework. And as always, the first thing you're going to want to do is glyph everything. It's good practice for doing your individual glyphs and structure. Once we've done that, we're going to transliterate it, meaning writing all of the sounds and sound complements, the dots, the dashes, the little frowny marks, all that stuff. All right. After that, we can start translating. So first we have IW, which means a signpost, someone in the past did something, followed by the verb to bring. And bring is followed by the water sign N, which makes bring, brought. So who did the broughting? Well, we have Niswu, the word for king, remembering that it has a honorific transposition with the N there. All right, what type of king? Well, we have a sovereign king. You remember that word from last week. And we have further description of the king. The king is also a lord, nb, which is the Egyptian word for lord when it is in front. When it's behind, it's the word for thing. And bidi, which can be used for Egypt, or Kemet, which is what the Egyptians called their land. So the sovereign lord of Egypt. And who did he bring with him? Well, he brought a man. You remember T with a man determinative. This is the word man, or a man, or the man, or his man. And it's what type of man? Well, from our vocabulary, it's chu, a yes man. You know, like all politicians and kings have. And this yes man led the king towards, using the R, the open mouth, and he's bringing him towards a chabi, the festival. And we're going to describe that festival, following the noun, as a geese festival. It's like the festival of geese. I don't know. Hey, why not? So the sovereign lord of Egypt brought his yes man towards the festival of geese. Sounds like a fun Sunday to me. All right. With that, hope you did well on the translating. Let's jump into some more bilateral glyphs. Here we have the sitting pin-tailed duck chick. So this is pronounced cha. The T with the dash is a cha. It's drawn first with your little oval, and then you draw the ground that he's sitting on with a little sort of a half moon. Then you're going to have a little arrow, which represents his tucked-in foot. Easy to draw. It's drawn like it looks just like an arrow. Then we'll add the wing detail going up and going down on either side. And then, of course, the head and the face of this pin-tailed duck is actually kind of fun because it's the only fowl in the Egyptian hieroglyphs that's sticking its tongue out. Hey, why not? All right, so cha, I always think of it as like this little duck is going like cha-cha-cha. And again, remember that T with the dashed line under it is pronounced like latch, like the cha, like in latch, which makes this cha. Again, I always think of it as like cha-cha-cha. Hey, you got to have ways to remember this stuff. And the pin-tailed duck does kind of look like he's dancing. Here's some words that start with cha, or chat, with a man in his occupations. That's the glyph when the man is pointing both hands like that, not at his face, but forward. And this is the word for vizier. If you don't know what a vizier is, it's basically like a head advisor to the king, the sort of second in command, not really a butler. Remember Aladdin, this guy? Yeah, Jafar was a vizier. And yes, Jafar actually is from Arabian Nights, although not in the Aladdin story. They borrowed the name from a different story, but that's not important right now. All right, another word with the cha-cha-cha pin-tailed duck, cha'ai, with the phallus with male fluid is the technical term that they use in the books. Yes, that is sperm coming out of the phallus, and that's because we're dealing with the word for male, ta'a, cha'ai. You can remember you don't need to say that extra A because of the echo effect. And so, yes, this is the word for male, hence the sperm coming out of the phallus there. Hey, it's not a sex ed class. This is how the Egyptians drew it. I promise. I'm not making this stuff up. All right, let's move on to another letter, or glyph, that is. So this bow tie-looking glyph is chaz. So it's the cha from the T, and the S without any mark is like a Z sound. So what you're actually looking at, and here we have cha'az, with the determinative glyph of a rope, right? You remember that? We did that actually in the word rope a few weeks ago. So this is another one of those cases where the determinative can hint at what the word is when you're used to the same type of determinative. So chazd, and again, the extra z there can be crossed off because of the echo effect. And much like the determinative of a piece of rope used in the word rope, in this case, we are talking about the word knot, like a knotted rope. Get it? Because rope determinative could work for the word rope, and it works for the word knot. It's a similar word. See, there's a lot of hints in hieroglyphs. They're not that hard. Not as hard as you think. All right. Chau, chazu, the chaz with a W, the chick sound, followed by a soldier holding a sword. That's what you see there every time you see the tall man with what looks kind of like a candy cane, but that's actually a sword. And this chazu is the word for general. So anytime you've got to have a guy leading wars, you don't send the vizier, you send the general. Hey, why not? We're building our nouns. All right. Another very popular glyph. So this is a lasso, and it's a little bit interesting to draw. You're going to start with the top part that kind of looks like an N. It's pronounced wah, wah, and it's the closest to an O sound. A lot of those mall kiosks use this as an O when they're writing people's names when you buy hieroglyphs on a little neck charm, but it's not an O. It's more of a whoa, whoa. So yeah, it gets used as O, but it's not O. It's just kind of a modern thing. All right, so like I was saying, you start off with that sort of ropey-looking N that is longer on the outside than on the inside, and then we're going to draw the loop of the lasso, followed by the little knot. It's just the same little knot that you drew on things like Tim's sled a few weeks ago. All right, so here we have a very common word. We've actually done this one before. Wa'at, wa'at. So followed by a determinative of a road, because this is the word for road. What you're looking there are two papyrus plants growing on either side, two at the top, one at the bottom. And that's a path in the middle is what you're looking at, sort of bird's eye view. So wa'at, road. And that determinative alone can actually be used to signify road. It's one of those determinatives that's, I guess you could say, a rare determinative that sometimes just shows up and is used as the word by itself. Probably because there was less space on the giant wall that the scribe was writing on, and he needed to have a shorter version. We've talked about that a lot, how hieroglyphics have no true spelling. It's up to the scribe based on how much space he or she has, but actually it was probably a he. What can I say? That's Egyptian society. All right, another word with our lasso, wa'au, wa'au. We have the rope, the vulture, and the spiral, W, followed by the water signs, which in this case are a determinative. Yes, they are a sound glyph, but in this case it's at the N, so it's a determinative, and it helps tell us, again, what word we're looking at. So the word wa'u translates to waves, like in the Nile or the Mediterranean, those Egyptians going surfing had to surf on wa'us. Hey, why not? Sure, they had surfboards back then. All right, here's your homework for next week. Take a look. Glyph this, transliterate it, translate it. If you have any questions, do pop them in the comment section, and I will do my best to answer as quick as possible. And as always, thank you so much for joining the class. We couldn't be having this series without you, and it's so appreciated that you're here. If you enjoy this series, do share it with others, and pass it along. This has been Doodling with Purpose. We'll be back next week with more glyphs, more fun, more bad jokes, and happy hieroglyphing, happy doodling with purpose.